if the Fighting Irish are going to do it in 2025. They're on the road in round one against a hungry Buckeye team who won the Big Ten title outright and then the tournament championship as well. And these two teams have played each other since 1981 every single year. And you look at the success of Notre Dame the last couple years winning it all. Ohio State's had their number. The last 6 times they've played, they've won 4 of them.
Including earlier this year in South Bend on March 8th. And they've got the lead here starting this second quarter. Jack Goldman wins the draw. Ari Allen from Atlanta, Georgia. There's another one. Not a traditional lacrosse hotbed, but it's becoming one.
Terrific football player in high school, too. Played at IMG, which is a factory.
For all sports, no question about it. Here's Liam White. Came from Illinois, decided to go to Boys Latin in Baltimore. Was he part of the first class where they had dorms there, kids from around the country? Coach Myers said the first call he made when recruiting was open was to call Liam White. Gonna get a flag here, first of the day.
I think that's gonna be a push with possession on Notre Dame. Buckeyes should be extra man for 30. Got a reset of the shot clock.
Take another look at it here.
That's Chris Reinhardt. He got 2 in there, and then once it looked like Gannon Matthews left his feet because of the push, that's an easy call.
Man up just under 40% on the season for Ohio State. Marinier shoots. Couldn't get it through. Blocked to the point of attack by Gallagher. Sheeran in the game, 10 in white. Good pass inside. And it ends up being in the back of the net. Garrett Haas.
Buckeyes love it. This is what happens when you have an elite stretch shooter like Alex Marinier. It opens up the inside on the extra man. Teams have to press out to 5 in white because he hammers the ball. And then you overcompensate, and the backside is wide open. And Garrett Haas is Johnny on the spot with a brilliant pass by Griffin Turner. Those are back-breaking type passes, the through pass to the backside. If you connect, you're on the doorstep for a one-on-one. That's how shooters disrupt man-down defenses, even when they aren't the goal scorers. Everyone's so worried about that guy. He just hammers the ball well over 100 miles an hour, Alex Marinier.
Loose ball hold goes against Ohio State.
So this is interesting, Chris. Different types of offensive schemes here. Ohio State will do it by committee, right? And they have pieces to a puzzle. Notre Dame, some of their struggles, and they've had 3 to 4 games where there's been 30 minutes where they're scoreless. Their midfield kind of disappears in spots in terms of dodging and creating offense, and it puts so much pressure on 15 blue Chris Kavanaugh to win his matchup. Now, the good thing is he has the capability of taking over games. The tough thing is he's going against Bobby Van Buren, who's an elite cover defender. The midfielders have to make their presence felt in this game if Notre Dame has a shot. It can't be all Kavanaugh.
It's a midfield with a lot of experience, Clark. You think about the 2 national championship years for Notre Dame, they would play 9 midfielders, and many of them are back playing this year.
They are, but it's a different kind of cocktail to the offense because Pat Kavanaugh's gone, and that 1-2 punch between both Kavanaughs, that took the pressure off the middies. Now they need to assert themselves. There's Van Buren. That's why it's such a tough matchup for Chris Kavanaugh.
And Greg Langermeyer, one of the captains from Ohio, is able to pick up the GB, but then he gives it right back. Face-on tracks him down. Flag comes out. Face-on still keeps possession. This will be a delayed call against Ohio State. Kavanaugh wants to take advantage. He immediately flies through the air. All kinds of contact in the crease. Looks like everybody's up, no harm, no foul. The officials are talking about that contact as well after the flag was dropped at midfield.
Well, that one could be a couple things. It could be a push on Van Buren. It also could be diving into the goal and making contact with the goalie.
Or could be nothing, which it looks like it will be.
White 38, white 38, trip, 1 minute.
Call's going to go against Langermeyer. 38 in white. That's a trip. It'll be 1 minute.
Langermeyer's the senior, one of the heart and soul members of this turnaround for the Buckeyes. Gets it on Faison. And then here's the back end where we thought there could have been a penalty here. Yeah, Kavanaugh gets hit. Fayok comes out to meet him. So the contact's actually out of the goal mouth, that semicircle. If he was to make contact with the goalie without defensive pressure inside of the goal mouth, it could have been a penalty on Kavanaugh.
Man up for a minute for the Irish. Blade shot goes high.
They're struggling.
They were absolutely deadly these last couple of years, and this year, what,
that's what I'm saying. 31%. It's not great, but it's not horrible. But compared to years past, where they were historically great, around 70%.
Watch out for Ricciardelli, Jeffrey Ricciardelli, brother of the goaltender for the Irish. He's a specialist. There he is. That's exactly what he does on the doorstep. They always seem to find zero and blue. That's his 6th man-up goal on the season.
Way to nail it, Cotter. You're seeing it. Chris Kavanaugh, the distributor here, gets the defense thinking with that prior ball reversal before this pass. What I love about Ricciardelli, too, sometimes he hangs out on the low left side outside the crease. Sometimes he's in the middle. They move him with the ball. And the trust between Kavanaugh and Ricciardelli, who were also high school teammates at Taft. Kavanaugh is going to pass that ball to Ricciardelli way quicker than most because of the confidence and how much experience they have with one another.
That time, Sean Matoto on the draw, guilty of the violation. Guilty of the violation. Kavanaugh. Second midfield unit on, including Wilma Harris, young man out of Chicago, Illinois, 16 in blue.
This is more of a traditional set for the midfield when Fisher Finley's out there, 6 in blue, 6'5". When they put Luke Miller in there, 77 in blue, they'll invert and take the midfielders out of their comfort zone and go behind.
Jalen Seymour. It's Seymour coming in at 6'4", 210. Finley, 6'6", 225. And that is a scary group. And then Maharis is the little jitterbug, 16. Bounce shot way too high. It'll stay with the Irish. 33 to shoot. Harris uses a pick to get on the shorty. Inside, beautiful ball movement, finished by Jake Taylor.
Can't leave him open. Recently drafted in the PLL by the Philadelphia Water Dogs. Denver native gets scooped up by the legendary coach Bill Tierney. Coached the Pioneers to a national championship in 2015. He's the last guy you want to give that much room to. Cotter, he's automatic from this spot. 7th nationally at shooting percentage at 48%. Taylor rarely gets that much time and room. He finishes shots like that when defenders are all draped all over him, let alone if he's that free. That was a breakdown in the Buckeyes D. A miscommunication to leave 13 in blue that wide open.
From Denver, Colorado, grew up playing outdoor and indoor lacrosse. Lynch picks up the GB, gets it back to Ricciardelli.
This is interesting what they're doing right now with Notre Dame. Taylor's going through the box, but he's playing his regular crease area. But what it's doing is it's giving him a different matchup. And that last time it freed him up because he has a midfielder defending him as opposed to a close defender.
Monday night, big night in the NBA on ESPN. NBA Countdown tips at 6:30, followed by the Draft Lottery. Then it's Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, Celtics and Knicks at 7:30. And then Game 4 of the Western semis between the T-Wolves and the Warriors. You know Nick Myers will be watching, big Celtics fan. Very disappointed in their 0-2 start in that series against the Knicks. Bounced back in Game 3. He'll be happy about that, too. Turnover.
Good check by Van Buren on the bottom hand of Chris Kavanaugh, disrupting that pass flow.
Face on. Beautiful ride. Here come the Irish. I thought for a second there we might get an assist from Jake Taylor. That's not something you see every day.
No.
He has, 4 on the season to go along with now 27 goals.
Tell you what, though, when we had his Virginia game, he had some dimes in that game. Multiple assist game by Taylor.
Yeah, it's very rare.
If you put him in that spot, though, he's got the lacrosse IQ to dissect the defense. He's such a smart player. What he does away from the ball, even when he's not catching and scoring.
So here's Luke Miller now, 77. To your point, he inverts to X.
Yep. So they get the short stick here as a midfielder, and they give him the green light.
Up top to McLean, gets underneath his defender. Jump shot to Fayak, stops him.
You see how he just owns the pipe and the low angle shooting? It's so hard to get a shot like that past the big tasty. 6'2", 296. Hands, lightning speed.
He's got 6 saves.
He's had an historic 2025 at 62%. Those are ridiculous numbers. Number 1 in the nation in that category.
He's helped Ohio State win a couple of rock fight games. You think about like 7-5. Oh, what a save by Richard Telly, though, matching him on the far side. He's got 4 saves, and that was a beaut.
Yeah, he's doing his part because that shot had some heat. Faison back onto the field. In the last 660 days, Jordan Faison has played football or lacrosse, practiced or games, 597 of them.
Yeah.
You talk about a 2-sport athlete who's emptying the tank and constantly being on call, whether he's a wide receiver for Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish football team or a midfielder for Kevin Corrigan. No off days.
Coach Corrigan gave him the first couple of games off this season, that recovering from the national championship game. 1 extra pass to Kavanaugh. But even with that said, he has 8 goals on the season. You would have expected more from 14, so you wonder whether he's run into a wall a little bit here as the counter turns to May. Kavanaugh, I thought he might let that one rip. Instead, he comes back up topside and beats Fayak.
Ouch! The spin does one of a couple things for Chris Kavanaugh. Frees up his hands from Bobby Van Buren, but it's like a catapult shot out of a cannon with the velocity on that shot. Rich Iardelli starts this offensive run. Look at that spin and shot location. He's owned May the last couple months. Don't bet against a Kavanaugh.
Good mornings start with the goodness of Cheerios.
As the young man before the game, he invited his teammates to a team and a family in need, and they call it the medicine game, and the sport of lacrosse will rally behind everyone that's been impacted by this tragic passing. We'll always remember Dylan.
No question about it. Well said. And thinking about him today and his family. 4-3, Notre Dame has taken the lead here. About midway through this second quarter. Had a lot of swings Buckeyes just moments ago, it seemed, had a 2-goal lead, but the Irish now have taken a little momentum and built off of that with that beautiful Chris Kavanaugh goal before the break. First shot of the game, first goal of the game for Kavanaugh. Anger coming upfield, good look inside, just trying to get the one-timer from that time from Taylor, couldn't get it to work.
Tasty outside the goal. Caleb Fyock.
He moves, he's like
showing you his nimble feet.
He's like Blaze Reardon in many ways. PLL goalie. His movement belies his size. Kavanaugh. Busikill.
They played that pick beautifully. Kavanaugh initially came off that pick as a shooter, and then all the attention a beat after started going upfield towards Kavanaugh, and Busikill wide open.
Face on here, trying to get by. Johnny Cool can't do it on first blush. Kavanaugh steps in. Wide.
Got to press out on him. He can make it rain from deep.
These defenders for Ohio State are impressive. Brown, Van Buren, Cool. You mentioned it before. Langenmeyer, the short stick. Island, Ari Allen, former football player, great high school football player. This is Island right here, 34.
Yeah, Island is a pro short stick defensive midfielder.
And now he's on Kavanaugh. This is interesting here. Can Kavanaugh take advantage? In front, Busikill stopped by Fyock. Look at Kavanaugh on the ride, though, in front, and McLean beats Fyock. Is that not quintessential Kavanaugh? All three brothers have always played that well in the ride game, and Chris Kavanaugh continues that legacy.
You're playing against the 6th best scoring defense nationally. The top goalie in the country. You got to find non-traditional ways to score goals outside of the settled 6-on-6. What does Notre Dame do as well as anyone during these huge moments in the month of May? It's ride. Get after the defense when they're trying to clear. And look at the shot location. This is a great finish by McLean, who not only fakes high and shoots low, but he takes the head of his stick and puts it across his face, twister-like fashion, to give more deception to beat a superstar goalie.
Nick Myers has seen enough of this 4-goal run by the Irish, calling timeout at the 5:07 mark of this second quarter. Irish up 5-3. As I mentioned, with 5:07 left to go in this first half. Let's look at the bracket as we are the first game of the second day here, the first round. Richmond got the win over North Carolina in Chapel Hill yesterday. Mild upset, not a surprise to many. The way Richmond plays defense, they could be a tough out for the winner of that Albany-Cornell game. Penn State hung on. Colgate gave them all they could handle.
Yeah, Richmond, congratulations to the Spiders, their first NCAA tournament win in program history. But you mentioned it, not a huge surprise to the avid lacrosse fan who watches the Spiders week in and week out, specifically in the non-conference schedule when they battle toe-to-toe with the big dogs.
Other side of the bracket, you and I were in Princeton, New Jersey. Saw the Tigers beat the Tigers 22-12. That game was sloppy in the first half for Princeton. Second half, they put on a clinic.
A shooting expo. I mean, guys like Nate Kabiri with 5 goals, Tucker Wade with 5. They were hammering corners. The efficiency from a shooting perspective was off the charts. They started in the first quarter shooting around 30%. And then the last 3 quarters shot around 80% in that game. They were automatic. And then Georgetown, they've been dominant as of late, getting past that first round. And Kevin Warren has a scorer, and Aiden Carroll's got 14 goals in his last 2 games. He is red hot.
The NCAA Men's Lacrosse National Championship game is on Memorial Day, Monday the 26th at 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. It's going to be played at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships.
It's critical right now, Connor, that Ohio State takes a deep breath and starts to get some real offensive possessions. You feel like they're not controlling the ball on that end at all. Notre Dame has been able to go after Ohio State's defense possession after possession and could be tiring them out on this hot day. This is one of the hottest days of the spring in the state of Ohio, up around 80 degrees.
And Will Lynch has won 4 faceoffs in a row as well.
Yeah, he's creating that run and that just big disadvantage in time of possession.
Procedure call going to go against Lynch.
And anytime you're in a spot like this, give it to your quarterback. That's 2 and white, Garrett Haas. Let him run your offense. Let the ball go through X every single possession when it's settled. He'll make the right decisions. And his ability to create from back there and win a matchup, but also distribute as a passer. He's the best passer on the team.
Here's White out of the box to O'Leary on the far side. Donovan will check him on the run here, shooting right into the stick of Richard Daly. We're going quickly the other way with Reinhardt. McLean hit the pipe. Stays with Ohio State.
This is what you don't want if you're Ohio State, right? It's just too quick of a possession. O'Leary takes an ill-advised shot when he feels the pressure on his back and pushed out by a defender. Loses his base, and now Notre Dame again on offense. Starting to feel comfortable.
Pick. Hits the outside of the cage, but Kavanaugh gets it back.
They're really good in the pick game. And they're able to free Kavanaugh up.
Oh, what a move. And 5-hole. Ben Ramsey goes 5-hole on Big Tasty. 5 in a row now for the Irish.
This is the cat and mouse sub or not to sub game. Ben Ramsey's a short stick defensive midfielder. Typically doesn't stay on the offensive frame. But why does he do it this time? Because he has a freshman offensive midfielder in Liam White, trapped and caught. So Notre Dame feels more confident in Ramsey's offensive skill and his overall ability to get a shot off, then sub him out and allow White to get off the field as well. So that is elite lack of substitution by Notre Dame. And credit Ryder Garnsey, who runs the box.
Hagstrom had to take this draw for the Irish. And Oldman is guilty of the violation. The field has been tilted toward this end all second quarter. Ohio State has only taken 3 shots in the entire quarter. They have been on the defensive. Seymour to the middle of the field. Finley just puts a big shoulder into Ari Allen. Now the slide comes in. Brown has to get rid of it and does. They swing it to the far side. Now back up top to Harris. Kavanaugh in the corner. Now he's got Van Buren hung up. This is where 16 and 13 are so dangerous for the Irish. Watch Jake Taylor, 13, trying to cut to open space. Nice play by Van Buren. Ground ball, though, picked up by the Irish. Under 10 to shoot for Fisher Finley. McLean finding Kavanaugh inside! You're going to have to explain this, Clark, because I don't know how he found 50.
Do you remember draft night on Tuesday? I said, this was a steal in the PLL. Chris Kavanaugh sliding to the second round because of his ability to play with the ball, but also without it. Watch how crafty he is. Once he sees Van Buren ball watching, just goes behind his back right there. He sees the back of the helmet of Van Buren, and it's go time. And credit McLean, who was An ex-attackman when he was at Brown before he transferred to Notre Dame, distributing the ball, playing in that role. And Notre Dame, you see the success winning titles, also headlining some PLL draft boards the last couple years. Jake Taylor goes 9th. Kavanaugh slides in the second round, which was a shocker to me. I have him the second-rated player eligible for the draft this year. And then Brent Ramsey, who we saw score a goal earlier as a short-stick defensive midfielder.
Lynch back taking the face-off. He's really starting to assert his dominance at that spot today. Another possession. Ohio State has only won 3 draws on the afternoon.
Connor, we have just a little bit over 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Ohio State, you feel like, has never had the ball in this quarter.
It has been really tilted, and Notre Dame's taking advantage of it. And that's not a recipe for coming back in this game, especially when you're not winning faceoffs.
And they're beating Caleb Fyock with inside shots, right? They're not settling for bad shots. They're relying on their ball movement, their vision and passing skills, and these slam dunk type shots.
Angrick loses it, but he's got a teammate in Kavanaugh to pick it up. Kavanaugh's on the shorty, Langenmeyer. Draws a lot of attention, though, when Brown slides to him. Face on now on Langenmeyer. Slide comes to him. Bounce pass it to Kavanaugh up top. McClain can't handle it, but Taylor tracks it down. He's just going to dump it in the corner as the shot clock was winding down.
Smart play. It allows Notre Dame to get in their ride. Would have been a violation.
Final minute of this first half. Shot clock inconsequential for Ohio State. They really need a good offensive possession here. Need a good look, don't they?
Yeah, I would use a timeout here if I'm Nick Myers and draw something up here. You have not had the ball this quarter at all. I wouldn't hold anything to chance. Put your best personnel, put your best system and formation out there.
Under 30 now. It doesn't look like he's going to call it. Has one in the bag if he wants to use it. Griffin Turner against Alakwa. Looks like Ohio State's going here. Haas. Back to Turner. Up top, Marinier. He scores! Had to have it, and they got it.
Who needs a timeout? Nick Myers is saying, why use a timeout? Trust your personnel. The timeout would allow you to scheme something up, but also allow Notre Dame maybe to counter defensively. But this is the staple of Ohio State in 2025. Quick wrist passing by Garrett House. And absolute flamethrowers by Alex Marinier. This is the giddy-up I was talking about. In the first quarter, we saw one shot by Marinier where he kind of was off his balance and off his feet. When he plants his feet and he sets his core and you see that torque, it's one of the most beautiful shots you'll see in college lacrosse.
McClain lets it fly as the buzzer sounds.